Hi y'all, how you doing? Uh, doing doing some work on the Barracuda on the Slant 6, and got a drag race coming up. I believe it's this weekend, Slant 6 race. But I wanted to just do a little checking on the Barracuda because um, I adjusted valves here a while back, and I maybe I didn't do them exactly correct, but I thought I'd make this video and show you all what's going on. Okay, um, but let me set the camera up here so you can see what's happening. So here we go. Okay, I was hoping that would there used to be a little stop in there. Okay. Well, what's the old saying? If at first you don't succeed, try again. So here's what we're going to do. We'll make good use of the vise. So right now, the camera holder, the selfie stick, is being held up by my vise. So there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm already in the middle of this. I've already tested cylinders 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to go ahead and test the other 3. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a compression test. Hopefully I can pass along a lot of good information to you, and you can hopefully learn from some of this. However, you know, everybody does things a little differently. So, if you have any questions, though, about this or my car or anything else you see in the garage, just go down below, put it in the comments. Okay, I've got a remote switch on the starter, so I'm going to just crank the engine over without the ignition on. Okay. That one did okay, I guess. Like I said, I'm not entirely certain I got the valve adjustments correct. I'll tell you what. Let's try that again, because I'm not sure I got that completely sealed in there real good. Okay, that came up a little bit. Now, when you're doing this on an engine, you know, you're trying to find out if things are okay. You know, cylinder wall, the piston ring, cylinder wall sealing is correct. Your valves, if there's any issue with them, you know, like maybe one of them's burnt or maybe maybe misadjusted. Also too, you want to, this is another good, also too, you can check to see if head gaskets are blown by using this. So I got to write this result down. So back to it. Let's see. I'll just bring this over here. Wow. That was pretty impressive. Okay. One more cylinder to go. Now, This is a 225 Slant 6. In case you're wondering, this isn't the original engine. Okay? So, and you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but this car was actually born with a V8, but I really like Slant 6s, and I love Mopars, and I still have the V8 to come out of this car. I just, I wanted to go Slant 6 drag racing, and the only way to do that is to, of course, put a Slant 6 in your car. You can't really go Slant 6 racing if you're running a 440, you know, maybe a big block Chevrolet. So there you go. 145. That one came up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the results before and after. But we've got, you can see, here's the before, and then over here's the after. Got two cylinders that are pretty low, but most of them have came up. Cylinder 1 came up quite a bit, came up 30 psi. Or no, I'm sorry, cylinder 2 came up 40. It came up quite a bit, about 35 psi. So, no, actually more than that, 35, 55 psi. So, and then cylinder 3 come up to 100, from 120 to 150. Cylinder 5 came up from 145 to 155, 10 psi. Hey, I'll take it. And then 6 came up 120 to 145. So I'm going to try, I think this is telling me something. I'm going to try adjusting the valves again on cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 4. So I'm going to try that again and hopefully get it right this time. Okay, but something else has been plaguing me on this car. When it gets hot, not temperature outside, but when the engine gets hot and warmed up, the car doesn't run as well as I would like. So I think this is part of it. I think the other part of it is I think I have an ignition box that may be breaking down. So I've got a new ignition box over here, but I'm not entirely trusting of it because, you know, new ignition parts, some of them are really just, they're really crappy. But I want to show you a little trick on these Slant 6s, especially on the ones with the tube seals here. Some people call them drool tubes. Okay, funny, whatever. But I want to show you a neat little trick on how to make these seal better. Okay, one is, of course, you can use some silicone like I did on the seals and put new seals on. Okay, that's two things. Another thing is take this edge, okay, and you want to tap this edge down all the way around. Okay, now you can go and take a like a piece of wood and carve out a kind of a concave sort of thing to where this makes this a little, makes it, instead of it being, you know, 90 degrees to this, you know, instead of this being 90 degrees to this, it makes it more of a, you know, bends it over just a little bit. Now you could go through there with pliers and try to bend it around there, but you might not get it exactly correct. Now another little trick though that's even easier though, this is one that's a lot easier. You can take, go up in here and put a socket up in there, probably like a 1/2 inch or a 9/16, something like that. And then come up here on this side, take a ball peen hammer, okay, and just take the ball peen part and just rest it on here. And take another hammer, probably like a plastic mallet, rubber plastic mallet, something like that, and just tap that hammer ball peen end in there just a little bit. What that'll do is that'll make that a little uh, convex. It'll make it like that, you know, with that kind of dip in there, so that when the spark plug tightens up, it pulls this thing down just a little bit more. Now, of course, this is aluminum, so, you know, it's going to bend a little bit. So, anyway, just a neat little trick to keep these things from leaking on you. I rebuilt this engine not long ago, and I went to a race and I had all 6 of these were just leaking profusely. And I was like, I've got to do something. And so I did this, and it helped tremendously. So anyway, I thought I would pass that along to you. Now, don't be surprised though if you take these out and your spark plug stays in there. You know, it's just something that happens. Okay, you can take the spark plug back out. No big deal. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Spark plug just comes right back out. Then put the drool tube back in there. So, all right. But I'm not putting the spark plugs back in because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this valve cover off. I'm going to start adjusting some valves. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And, but I'm going to go ahead and share with you, it's hot out here. It is hot, 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 hot. It's crazy hot. Humid. So, yeah, it's just nuts out here. So, anyway. Now, okay. Here we go. There we are, there's that. Okay. Set this back over here. Okay. Now, another thing, when you're doing this work, when you change the spark plugs or removing spark plugs or putting spark plugs in a Slant 6, this is one thing I want to share with you that is very, very important. Okay. Now, you see this? This is, of course, the hot stud on the back of the alternator. Now, if you look, it's about right in line with the number 1 spark plug hole. So that can be a problem. So when you go and pull that spark plug out, you have that socket and that extension down in there. What's going to happen is, if you're not careful, you can arc that hot stud on that socket and that extension, and you know, possibly destroy something. I've done it a couple of times, and most Slant 6 people have. But here's something to keep in mind. When you do that, a way to prevent that, of course, is just to unhook the battery. It's not a big deal. For me, it's a little bit bigger of a deal because my battery's in the back. Just something I wanted to do. But it also helps with traction and drag racing. But also, too, is it keeps, but you can go, and you can put electrical tape around that stud and that nut there on that. And that will make that a lot safer and keep you from arcing out on it all the time and all that kind of crap. Also, you can also fit like a piece of rubber hose over that. There's a bunch of little things you can do. So, you know, you don't have to go and be all crazy about, you know, taking the alternator off and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to go through all of that nonsense. You can just do the smart thing and just cover up that stud. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove this valve cover. Oh, okay. I just thought I had the right socket. Now, I'll just go ahead and tell you, by and large, most all of the slant sixes you're going to run across are American thread, standard thread. Unless you run across one built in Mexico or one that's been down in South America for a very long time, or one that was built in South America. They were very popular down there. I think they continued to build them down there in Mexico until the year 2000, so quite a long production run. The original idea for the Slant 6 was actually because the engineers at Chrysler at the time were coming up with a small car, compact car. At the time it was called a compact car. I know you probably look at it today and look at a Valiant or something like that and you think, my God, that thing's huge. But back then it was considered a compact. I mean, think about it, you know, look how big Cadillacs were at the time, and then you get an idea, that was a compact for the time. Anyway, the engineers at Chrysler at the time needed to develop a brand new engine for this new line of cars they were going to come out with. It was a small compact series of cars, and they were called the Valiant. And believe it or not, at the time, in the late 50s, when this car was being developed, in the very late 50s, like 58, 59, 57, all of that, the whole idea, the whole concept, all of the work and everything that was being taken up, it was highly secretive. As a matter of fact, a lot of the people who worked on the project said that the security clearance was rivaling that of the Manhattan Project. So Chrysler was very serious about the new compact car. I mean, there was a whole wave of small European cars at the time coming over, and there was even a few small cars coming from Japan at the time, although they hadn't really made much of an impact at that time. But there was a lot of small compact cars coming over from Europe, and they were making big inroads to the American car buyers, because by the late 50s, a lot of American car buyers, not a lot, but there was a small growing number of car buyers that really didn't like the idea of driving some big, enormous Imperial or Chrysler or Cadillac or Buick or big Lincoln or anything like that. They wanted to drive something that was much more, had much more of a sporty flair to it, that had a better road feel and road manners and handling, and something that was just far more economical. Remember at the time, most cars were getting, they weren't getting fantastic fuel mileage. And aerodynamics wasn't much of a consideration at the time either. So, but something else to keep in mind. Okay, now I'm going to pass on a little bit more information. Okay, when you're working with steel valve covers, okay, yes, you did see a pair of underwear, okay, old underwear, okay, laugh it up, okay. Anyway, when you working with steel valve covers, it's very important. Go and take the time to straighten these up. Now, some of them are just warped and twisted, and they're so badly out of shape, there's just no way to get them in shape again. However, I have taken some that were pretty bad, and I have straightened them up and got them to where they weren't leaking anymore. So, hey, not too bad. Okay, but what you want to do, it's very simple. Of course, this one here, I'm not going to remove the valve cover gasket, but you get the idea. Remove the gasket, then take and eyeball the edge. Look down the edge, both of them. Look and see if there's anything that just looks out of place, out of shape, okay? If there's anything down through here that is like, if you look down through here and you see like little humps or waves, or maybe this tang sticking out right here is, you know, pushed this way or maybe pushed that way, and this one's pushed this way or what have you, get them back into shape. You can do this really easily with like a couple of hammers, a body dolly and a hammer. It doesn't take a lot, okay? You know, it's just one of those things. You need to do it. Get your valve cover back into shape, and you know, get yourself a pretty decent gasket, like a rubber gasket like this, and it helps a lot. And you can use this not only just on valve covers, but you can use it on oil pans, transmission pans, any kind of sheet metal type cover like this, okay? So, just something to remember. So, just want to set that over here very carefully. I'm actually going to turn this valve cover over because I don't want all the little bugs to fly in there and make their home in there, you know, get dye in there and make a big mess, you know, that I have to clean up. So, anyway, all right. Okay, now comes the hard part. I've got to look up some specs. Okay, now, I've talked about this before. Get yourself some good manuals, okay? Usually, here's a good trick. Go to your bookstores, go to like flea markets and yard sales. Pick up used manuals there. Why? Because for one, they're way better. They're older. They have more information in them, okay? If you're working on the older classic cars like these, you're gonna need this stuff sooner or later, okay? You're gonna need those torque specs. You're gonna need those valve lash settings, and so on and so on and so forth. Just, you know, get the information. Sure, you can go online. Everybody does. I have, but it's always one of those things you got to take with a grain of salt. Okay, so you know when you get some of these old manuals though, they're really, really accurate. They have a lot of fantastic amount of information in them, and it's just really, really good. So, all right, here we go. I should have looked this up beforehand, but yeah. Okay, yeah, I should have looked this up beforehand, but it is what it is. Okay, so we need to probably, let's just go back here to, yeah, here we go. Let's see, valves. Okay. Valve lash adjustment 139. There we go. All right. Okay. Now for my engine, it says 12 and 24. But that's when the engine's hot. So I'm gonna back that off some. I'm gonna go, yeah, I'm gonna back that off some. So, but we pass on one more little bit of information, and then I'm gonna end this video and I will pick it up and I will tell you more about it. So son of a gun. I was going to tell you, go ahead, if you get any of these, go ahead and coat them with some sort of oil, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to have little rust spots coming up on them, and it'll ruin them, okay? Cover these with oil. If you have to, dip them down in a bucket of oil, whatever, okay? Actual oil, not WD-40 or some kind of crap like that, okay? All right, another thing. Last time I was talking to you, I was telling you about this. Okay, I want to apologize. I went and I put this back together, and it worked beautifully. As a matter of fact, it still works beautifully. And I don't know if you can hear it right now. Ooh, did you see that? You see the fuel squirting out of the squirters there? So, yeah, this thing works really, really well. I'm really impressed. And to beat it all, I don't have anything in the carburetor. I didn't put any extra new gaskets in it or nothing. So, this is a Holley 2-barrel that came on this 360, and I rebuilt it, or just took it apart and cleaned it up, really, and put it back on here, and this thing fired right up like a champ, and I mean, runs like a top. I mean, this 360 is just sweet. I love it. This is a fantastic engine. I'm going to try to get you a video. I tried to make a video the other day, but my camera just, like, my phone camera just went haywire and did not want to cooperate with me at all. So I thought I was making a video, and come to find out I had recorded maybe 3 minutes. So, but like I said, I will get you a video, and I will try to get it very soon and get it up. I'm going to start taking this thing apart though, and I'm going to start putting it on there, on the stand. See right there. I know those cylinder heads look junky, but they're actually fantastic. They've actually been milled down some, and that's why they're on that block. I'm checking the gap all the way around to see if the intake fits the heads and the block. As you can see, we have a small little gap right here. Probably would see better with light, but you know, and we got something that's looking really good. The bolt holes actually line up pretty good. Before you say anything, this has been under my bed in the house for a long time. This intake has. It's an Offenhauser. It's not the best intake in the world, and I know it, but it was cheap. So there you go. I have some more 4-barrel intakes for this that will be going on this 360. Okay, so these heads have been milled down quite a bit though, and that's why I was checking this. So just something to do, you know, to keep things moving along in the right direction. So anyway, like I said before, if you have any questions, comments, ideas, even some creative criticism, whatever, just put it down there in the comment section below. And you know, I'm going to be coming to you with another video very soon. And thank you. God bless. Have a good one.